Good evening, and welcome to the Jungle Gyms podcast. I'm your host, Gavin, and tonight we're joined by the usual suspects of Paddy and McGinty. Guys, how you doing?
No, give yourself.
I'm very well, very well. It's been an okay weekend. Thankfully, the weather's been satisfactory. It's not been pushing it down, so I'm happy with that. I'll take that. McGinty, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Unfortunately, up here it has been quite pushing it down and windy and grey and miserable, but we survive.
Well, at least you're bringing a bit of culture, though, to the Shetlands. Tell me, what top is that you're wearing?
This week's effort is a little Mexico number. This is their current home shirt, which is a bit different from their usual greens.
Aye, aye.
Just to let the viewers know, McGinty's a bit of a football shirt aficionado. He's got a feral collection, so
I've got a collection, yeah.
we're probably going to be talking about that in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
the more and more we change.
I've got enough to go through at least half a year of podcasts here at the rate that we're going. This week one is Mexico. There's no link to the Celtic squad just yet. However, we do have the old FN Juarez if we want to discuss Mexican players who have played for Celtic.
The one and only.
I think he is actually, yeah.
Aye, he was a letdown. But I do like it. Interesting strip, always a talking point. A welcome feature on the podcast, McGinty, so well done for that. So guys, today of course is Sunday the 15th of August, and today we were playing Hearts. So it's not very often whenever Celtic actually start off the domestic campaign with a poor result. In fact, I think we're going back about 26 years for that infamous Celtic against Hibs game when Larson gave it away and Chick Charnley scored that screamer. That was the first time we'd actually lost a game for the league opener. And again, of course, we started off this campaign in a similar fashion against Hearts away. But today we actually had the opportunity to right those wrongs, and thankfully we actually did that. We won 3-2 at Parkhead. An interesting game, full of talking points. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the game against Jablonec. That was on Thursday, again at Parkhead. That was the second leg of the Europa qualifier, and because we've beat that Czech team, we're now going to go through to the next round, and we're going to be playing the Dutch favourites, AZ Alkmaar. So that'll be a very, very tricky tie if we can negotiate past that. So a few things to chat about as we've touched upon. But before we go any further, guys, I do want to acknowledge, unfortunately, that the football legend, the German legend that is Gerd Muller, has passed away today at 75 years old. Bayern Munich put out a tweet online and they announced it. It was this morning he passed away. I found out, reading an article, that it was 5 years ago that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and that's quite a well-known topic. Unfortunately, becoming much more gaining much more mileage in the media in terms of football. Much more players getting diagnosed with that, families becoming more aware. And certainly for football fans across the world, but for Celtic fans especially, we know that we've had legends who've passed away, who've suffered from that condition. And I think most recently, Bertie Auld, and again, best wishes to him and his family. I hope that he's doing as well as possible. But Gerd Muller, going back to him, an absolute legend, a giant of the game. He got 68 goals and 62 appearances for West Germany, and that included the winning goal in the 1974 World Cup final. He had a tremendous CV. Apart from his goals for Germany, he got 547 club goals for Bayern Munich, and that was only in 594 appearances. Now, we think of people like Ronaldo nowadays, like he would give his right foot for that. That is a phenomenal start. He also won 3 European Cups. Not many people can claim to have done that, apart from, of course, Ronaldo and a few of the Real Madrid guys nowadays. But an absolute legend of the game, and I just want to kind of pass on my thoughts, and I'm sure that you all kind of share that sentiment to his family. Really kind of tragic time. But talking about like legends of the game like that, whenever I think of great centre forwards, apart from Gerd Muller, I think of Eusebio from Portugal. I think it's Paolo Rossi from Italy, and they definitely left their mark throughout the history of football. And whenever you hear the name Gerd Muller, I think anyone who's a football fan who has like an inkling of history will definitely know that is a very, very famous name. But to kind of lead on from that, And in homage to Gerd Muller and his scoring exploits, I actually wanted to do a little bit of fun trivia with you. So hopefully I won't embarrass you too much. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for you to actually show your European football knowledge. So I wanted to ask you guys if you'd be able to give me a few names for the top 10 Germany international goal scorers. So we're going back a number of years. I would imagine that the majority of these names will be very, very familiar to you. So we'll start off, if you can name off a couple, and then we'll go into the Hearts game. So as I said, the top 10 German international goal scorers, and that can be for East Germany, West Germany, or the unified Germany.
I'm going to start that one off then with Gerd Muller.
Gerd
he
Muller,
born?
okay.
I assume he's number one or up there somewhere. Paddy, do you want to help us out there? Anybody else?
The last two that I can really think of, I don't know if one of them's one, but Thomas Muller.
Thomas Muller. He is not in fact, pardon me, I'm talking pish. Number 9. Number 9.
I was going to say, I thought
Thomas
it
Muller
was.
is 39 goals. 39 goals. Thomas Muller.
I'm going to say a third name, which I'm pretty sure is going to be in it. It's probably going to be the most kind of easy one for us to pick off is Klinsmann.
Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yep.
Well done. Well done. Okay, so I'll let you have an opportunity for a fourth one, and then we'll move on to the Hearts game.
The one I was thinking about before Thomas Muller, it's got to be Miroslav Klose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that he still remains the all-time leading goal scorer in the World Cup. I think he's got 16, whereas the Brazilian Ronaldo has only got 15.
What was Thomas Muller's claim to fame in the World Cup? Was he like the first, not the first one, but one of the kind of records for scoring in the most consecutive World Cups or something? I'm sure Thomas Muller has some sort of goal-scoring claim to fame in a World Cup as well.
I think the biggest thing about Thomas Muller is that he doesn't really have any noticeable great attributes. He's not fast, he's not technically gifted, but he scores a shit ton of goals for Bayern Munich and for
still
Germany.
Have him in your team.
I think he definitely holds a record for the person who looks most like a German.
If you could paint one.
Yeah. He could definitely be an extra in a lot of war movies. But moving on from that, we'll touch back on that trivia. Move on to Celtic against Hearts. And as I was talking about earlier on, it was an opportunity for us to kind of turn things over. I think even maybe a couple of Celtic fans would have had a bit of trepidation going into today's game. Obviously, we have impressed recently in the last few games under Ange Postecoglou, but Hearts gave us a bit of a kicking in that first game in Midlothian. Starting off with yourself, Paddy. So obviously you'd watch the game. Actually going to the lineup to start off with. So in defence, we've got the usual like Taylor, Starfelt, Welsh, Ralston, and Hart at the back. No surprises there. And you've got Rogic again coming in. You've got Turnbull and McGregor. Soro's not playing. So I was kind of thinking about this for Soro actually not playing. Does this kind of emphasise the difference between Celtic against Hearts at Parkhead rather than Hearts against Celtic at in Edinburgh? Because the pitch is wider, we've got the fans, so we're not playing with that kind of. I know that Callum McGregor is a holding midfielder, but Soro or even James McCarthy, neither of them were playing, and you would imagine that they're the most likely guys to break up the play. Do you think that highlights the fact that Rogic can come in, that it's a totally different game at Parkhead against Hearts?
Well, we spoke about that previously, haven't we? And we all know that when Celtic play at Celtic Park, then they've got that big expansive pitch, and when they play with players who are kind of fast, quick, direct, you want attacking football. So when you play a kind of sitting midfielder, say like a Scott Brown or a Soro or somebody of that ilk, you're taking away an attacking player. So for me, when you look at a lineup like that, which it's been for the last couple of games, you're just thinking straight away attack, and obviously that's what you go. I mean, the stats for the whole game were frightening actually. I mean, you look at our possession; it was 72% to 28%. We had 35 goal attempts, 11 shots at target. Obviously, we only scored 3. But one of the ones that picked my brain out was that there was 75 attacks to, and that was over the entire game. And apart from what you see it during the game with your own eyes, that tells you Celtic are just going for it. And Park is about the best place to do that.
I totally agree with you on that part. The stats, like 72% possession for Celtic was incredible. In the first half, it was, I think Craig Levine came out with a funny quote. He says, I wasn't at the Alamo, but it probably was a bit like that. Celtic were all over them like a rash in the first half. It was overwhelming. And Postecoglou, in his post-match interview, he said that the first half an hour was probably as well as we've ever played. We were suffocating them. We had them in a chokehold. And again, with the front three, we had Eddie, Forrest and Kyogo. They were all intertwining. They were all in sync. And as we get into the goals, that'll obviously be the kind of, that'll evidence how in sync they were. Really, really impressive from them. McGinty, what did you take about the lineup apart from that? And Christie, again, he was dropped. I'm not too sure if you can read much into that. And I have not heard anything yet about Abada as to why he wasn't playing. Certainly, Abada has been very impressive. But Kyogo on the left, Eddie through the middle, Forrest on the right. Thoughts?
It was an interesting one going with Eddie. I think the build-up to the game, I was listening to the build-up on the radio, and they seemed a bit kind of tepid and unsure about where Kyogo would play or if it would be Edouard playing on the left. And on the Radio Scotland, they were harking back towards the Dembele and Edouard combination. I think more so in that kind of second half of the season previous when we played the 3-5-2, when we looked quite dominant before COVID kind of curtailed everything. And they kind of harked on to Edouard being on the left there and wondering what would happen with how that would go. For me, it was probably quite obvious it was going to be Kyogo on the left because we all thought he was going to be a left winger when he first signed, actually, because he does play both quite well. But as you said, Gavin, the attack going forward, it just intertwined. They all link up so well. Even Edouard looked lively compared to what he has been in the first few games of the season. And for me, that front three, the attack at the same time, you see it with so many goals so far in this season where at least 2 of them are running at the same time and the third one's right there behind them. And they're taking shots off and it's fallen to the next guy who just happens to be in the box. Or you're seeing like the goal today where it's coming from the left all the way over to Forrest, picks it up, a great ball from Kyogo, who then cuts it back across because all 3 of them are running at the same time and Edouard gets his goal sort of thing. It's just
a beautiful goal, by the way.
It really was a great team goal and a great attacking goal. And that front three, regardless of who seems to be playing with it, unfortunately, Abada and Christie out of the games today. I'm not going to read too much into that. It just works regardless, though. I'm really impressed also with the midfield three, and I'm sure we'll touch on to it a bit more with David Turnbull. But again, I think he's having a cracking game. The last couple of games, he's really starting to shine back into the player that he was.
Andrew actually said that Christie was carried a wee knock for the last game.
Is that the?
So that's why Edouard played.
Which it worked. I mean, you can't argue with scoring 3 goals.
Yeah. I think Eddie has kind of known that he needs to step up to the plate. Thankfully, he got his goal, so we'll kind of go into that. And again, you did touch on it. It was lightning play from the Celtic offence, and Rogic, of course, who got man of the match. We'll kind of talk more about him, but Rogic started that move off, so I think he was in the midfield, and he saw Kyogo again. He's just always looking to make runs. And Rogic played it through for Kyogo on the left. And Kyogo, I don't think he even took a touch. He just tried to size up the movement of Forrest, was on the opposite wing. Forrest was bombing forward as well. And again, he stays onside. Kyogo plays a move with the outside of his right boot. It curls through, and Forrest picks up on the opposite side. And Forrest sees Eddie rushing in the middle, and he plays a side foot pass into the box. And Eddie's there. First time shot into the goal. Keeper had no chance. We tore Hearts apart in that opening goal. It was a beautiful piece of play, Paddy. What did you make of that one?
If that's what you call handball, then I'm all for it. as you guys have said, Kyogo was absolutely brilliant down the left-hand side for that. Again, a quick pass with the outside of the boot. I actually thought he'd overhit it a wee bit, but then you look back at it and it was beautiful. Again with James Forrest, I thought he could have possibly took it first time, but he didn't. But what he did was he managed to take it and get his head up and square it for Edward, which is absolutely perfect. Do you know what I mean? They totally stretched the back line everywhere, and Rogic was doing it the full game. Rogic stretched that entire half team, and so did McGregor. I actually thought McGregor was man of the match, personally.
But for me,
a lot of people were really impressed.
Yeah, they all impressed, especially that first half. The sheer amount of attacks is unreal. Paddy, you mentioned the stats there about, was it 72% possession? That's not uncommon for Celtic when we're dominating against the lesser half of the SPFL. So obviously, getting 60%, 70% possession is not uncommon. But see that stat about 75 attacks? That's unreal. If you break that down into minutes in a game, that's a dangerous attack, a good attack, more than every minute. That's just unreal. That's relentless pressing attack, and we don't see this passing around the back. It's just brilliant.
Well, see, the stats, that was for the overall game, right? But I obviously put the stats up in the WhatsApp group for the first half, and it was even more frightening. It was closer to 80% possession.
It's ridiculous.
It was amazing.
It's not uncommon. We've seen those stats before, really high possession. Just being the dominant team in Scottish football, you get that. But as I said, those attacking stats, that I would love to see that matched up against even Brendan Rodgers' team through the Invincibles, because I don't think we attack this much in our little kind of short time of being on this earth and with the realms of Celtic Football Club. It's just relentless.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Aye, I think if you were to compare it, and I know I'm not getting ahead of myself here, so you can feel free to laugh at me, but when you're talking about like Brendan Rodgers, their kind of build-up was more deliberate. So if you were to kind of compare it to Jurgen Klopp or Guardiola, I would say it's more like Jurgen Klopp, where they're more like flash bang, in your face, very, very fast counter attacking. Whereas Guardiola, they've got a lot of possession and they're more deliberate in their build up. So I would think that'd be the kind of the distinction between our play to a Brendan Rodgers style of football. We're much more dynamic, much more offensive, much more quicker on the break. But again, early doors, don't want to read into that too much, so don't get ahead of yourself with those comparisons to Klopp or Guardiola. But moving on to the next goal.
I liked a good quote for Ange. Sorry, but I liked a good quote for Ange, and it was after the game. And he'd said it previously when he was coming into the club, or when he just came into the club, that he wanted to play a style of football that his father would be happy with. His father's obviously passed away, and he mentioned it after the game. He says that if his father was looking down for him, he says this is what he would want to see. So you can tell that the man's taking a vast amount of pride in the way he's wanting his team to play. And it shows. You can see his passion on the sideline, and you can see his passion in the team, and you can see that the team's playing very passionately for him and for each other. There's a cohesion about the team that's it's brilliant to watch.
It really is. The cohesion and I'm going to call it the football intelligence from the middle to the front is superb for our level and what we're expecting to see. The link-up play, as we're seeing with Rogic and even Turnbull towards Kyogo, is phenomenal in such a short period of time. Those balls through the middle, Kyogo can read the game so well. He holds his line really well. His off-the-ball movement is superb. And his shots and goals, we're seeing it already. What's that, 5 goals, 6 goals already now?
5.
It's ridiculous. It really is good. However, it's not all sunshine and roses. We do have some weaknesses that I'm sure we're going to get onto.
Move on. Well, I just finishing on the last 2 goals for Celtic. So Kyogo again instrumental. So we had a corner, and Kyogo and Eddie sprinted towards the corner flag. Kyogo takes a quick pass to Eddie, and it was good to actually see Eddie's eagerness to get involved in that. Sometimes you would just expect him to kind of mope about in the box, and maybe I'm doing him a discredit, but he runs with Kyogo to the corner flag. Kyogo passes it to him. Eddie turns around and he spots Welsh in the box, crosses it in, delightful ball, and Welsh powers above his marker, and he gets in a powerful header. I think that's maybe only Welsh's second goal for Celtic, but brilliant. So happy for the boy. He's really deserved it, and I think that it's great that he's kind of reclaimed his spot. He's ousted out Beaton. I think Postecoglou's probably realised that Welsh is the more reliable kid to go with, and that's a testimony because he is still a kid. But brilliant goal. Hearts were kind of caught flat-footed a wee bit. Fantastic with that. So again, Kyogo involved with that. Great to see Eddie's enthusiasm. And then, of course, the final goal for Celtic. Rogic again involved. He was in the kind of the final third of the pitch, and he's sizing up the Hearts defence. And Kyogo, he starts off in an offside position, but he's got that know-how just to wait and let the defenders who are backing off then put him into an onside position, and quick as a flash, he starts his run. Rogic plays him in a through ball, and he hits I think it was like a left-footed shot, and Craig Gordon obviously gets a hand to it. It looked like it was going in anyway at the far post. Some of the commentators were saying it was off target and Craig Gordon put it in, but I think that the angle was inconclusive to take that point of view. For me, it was still an on-shot target, still Kyogo's goal, not an own goal, and Craig Gordon did as best as he could. So another great goal for Celtic, another great one for Kyogo. He's just endearing himself to the Celtic fans. Paddy, what did you make of his performance in those goals? Paddy frozen?
No, it's yourself, mate.
Oh, sorry. What did you make of Kyogo's goal? Sorry about that, guys. What did you make of his goal and his overall performance?
Again, it was a tremendous goal, team goal. Just say his movement's frightening, isn't it? Kyogo, he's really sharp, and I can just imagine defenders being terrified of him, and obviously goalkeepers and all, because that's 5-5 he's got. As you say quite rightly, the shot that he took, it was 100% getting in. Gordon tries to get his hands to it, and it goes into the back of the net, which still counts as a Kyogo goal. But no, the wee man's absolutely, he's got it, as far as I'm concerned. Jumping back to Welsh's goal, as you say, it was a wee quick corner into Edward. Edward turns round, gets the ball in. Welsh rises highest above anybody and gets an absolute bullet header on it, and he puts it in the perfect position away from the goalkeeper. It was a tremendous goal. But I'm a fan of in-swinging corners, or crosses as it was in this case, because that gives the poor player the momentum to get up and get his head on it and try and force it in, rather than trying to put too much momentum to get it back in. So I'm really happy with that. Turnbull's corners were no bad to the other side as well. I'll give him that.
No bad. No, I totally get what you mean there.
I wanted to actually ask you a question, McGinty, because I was thinking about it. See, you were talking about football intelligence and focusing on Kyogo. I've noticed over the past few games, now that he's gelled really well into the team, he's making so many runs that I think a lot of times our players who are the supporting cast who are trying to kind of play the through balls to him, sometimes he's just like a step ahead of them. And that actually brings me back to the last player who I remember doing that. I'm not going to bring up Henrik Larsson here, so calm your jets. It was actually Robbie Keane for Celtic when he had that loan spell at Celtic. Robbie Keane was making a lot of those intelligent football runs, intelligent runs, and I think it was only really Aidan McGeady who was able to really truly link up with him. I think that they were on the same kind of page. Not because of the Irish connection, just about the football intelligence, as you alluded to. And I'm just kind of noticing, I'm not trying to put anyone down, any of the other Celtic players, but I'm just noticing that Kyogo's making a lot of these runs. Maybe it's because he's been playing with NAS for so long. But I'm hoping that the Celtic players eventually catch up to his movement, because I think sometimes he's a step ahead of other people's minds. What do you think of that kind of line of thinking?
I think you're correct in some fashion in a lot of ways there. I think you're a little bit harsh on some of the other players in the supporting roles. If you look back to the last couple of games, especially Turnbull, he's looked so much better. He's playing Kyogo in quite often, Kyogo could have scored 3 or 4 goals in every game that he's played so far. For me, the intelligence of Turnbull's range of passing and how he can read the game, I think that links up really well with Kyogo. He's made some great forward passes from that kind of deep midfield central and just looping over it. And you can see Kyogo making that run. And he doesn't just make daft runs and he starts and he just hopes someone's pinging it forward. As you saw for his goal, he's holding the line. He's intelligent enough to know, I'll wait and then I'll run. He's not even doing I'll run back on side and loop around a player. He knows what he's doing and he's waiting and then he's going. He's reading the game so well. And I think guys like Turnbull and McGregor are intelligent players and they are able to find him. And we all know how intelligent Rogic is as a footballer and how gifted he is with his feet. I think that connection in midfield is just going to develop more and more with that front three. Whoever the front three is, they'll just develop that unison, that connection.
See, you're talking about holding the line, McGinty. How many offsides do you think we had to do?
Oh, well, so far you've impressed me with a lot of stats, so let's go with, did we have any?
Well, the last time we played Dundee, there was 0. Today, there was 0.
0 as well, yeah. I'm impressed and not surprised, but also surprised at the same time. It's a wonderful thing to hear, especially when you consider how dominant we are in attack now. Yet everybody's able to read it properly. Nobody's just pinging balls forward because hit and hope. These attacks are happening. It is a joy.
Aye. Summed up really well. I would kind of probably sum up this game as the good, the bad, and the ugly. The ugly, of course, being Andy Halliday. But the bad part was the 2 goals that we conceded. So, did you like that one?
That one needs to be properly acknowledged. Well done.
Cheers. So, let's go into it. The penalty. Liam Boyce scores the penalty for Hearts. That's in like the 57th minute. Starfelt, Paddy, I was talking to you in the last kind of full discussion with Celtic, and I was asking about what your thoughts are on Starfelt, and you rightly acknowledged too early to really give a proper opinion. So we don't want to be overly harsh, but my God, the penalty that he gave away was bad. So kind of talk me through it. Like, I was watching this in slow motion. It was almost like, I can't believe he did that. Going to describe it to us?
Thanks for bringing that up. I was trying to forget about it. The ball comes in for the right. Starfeld's almost in front of the left-hand post, just out a wee bit. And for some reason, he tries to kick it with his right foot. Now, the ball's literally, like, his left foot's here, the ball's here, and he tries to swipe it with his right foot. And unbeknownst to him, Big Voice is coming in beside him, and what does he do? He just cleans out Voice, doesn't even touch the ball. It was pathetic, if you ask me.
Do you think Joe Hart gave him a shout?
No, I think it was just one of the ones. I spoke about it before. I think Starfelt was really, really uncomfortable playing on the left-hand side of the defence. You look at the amount of passes that he takes. For me, he's either trying to cut into his right foot or cut back on so that he can pass it over to the right. But that one today for me just proved that he's very, very uncomfortable with his left foot. I mean, I've never ever seen anybody trying to kick a ball with a right foot at that angle when he could have just easily swiped it with his left. It was baffling. But again, I've not been too impressed with Starfelt. I know it's early days and I know you can't write him off, but I don't see any proper standout qualities from him. And that's been for his debut. I mean, he's been bullied a few times. He's couple of rash challenges. He's lost possession. It just looks very bog standard. And Stevie Welsh looks as if we've just signed him for £4 million.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you, Paddy. There's too many games now. He's not impressed enough. He's actually a worry. He's not shored up the defence. He's not brought any experience to help the guys on either side of him. He seems a bit lost out there as much as the rest of them were at the start of the season. I'm with you on regards to his footing. He's definitely one-footed. That attempt, as you said about the penalty today, was ridiculous. I mean, the first thing you surely learn as a defender is, if in doubt, kick it out, just whack it, which is what he should have done with his left foot. I don't care if you can't find a player with your left foot, just hit that ball. It was quite pathetic today, and it reminded me a lot of the opening game against Hearts as well, when he tried to make that sliding clearance. He was focused on using his right foot when he's coming from the left side, so he's swooping his right leg around to try and hook the ball out, which, yeah, he gets onto it eventually, but it's that sloppy and that messy that it doesn't make a good clearance, and it falls to Hearts and they get the goal out of it. So for me, I agree with you 100%, Paddy. He's definitely on the wrong side of a centre-back pairing. If he moved him to the right, would he get better? I don't know. I'm with you as well. I've not seen anything to impress me or to convince me that there's a player in there. But I'm willing to give him a little bit of benefit of doubt here, because there is glaring issues with playing him on the left side.
I'm not saying there's no player in there, but obviously how many weeks do you go in and say, oh, give him time to bed in, well, it's new team, new country, this and that. I mean, that's 4 games on the trot, and he's just flat. He's not flattering to deceive for me. We're absolutely crying out for a kind of dominant defender to play beside Welsh, or even have Welsh as your 3rd or 4th choice backup. I know Big Julian's on his way back, but Starfelt really needs to pull his socks up and fucking get his big boy pants on.
Julian, put my mind at ease. Is Julian a left-sided centre-back, please?
Yes.
But he's right-footed.
Yeah, but he plays it a lot better. If you remember with Ayer previously to whatever goddamn thing Lennon was trying to do last season, predominantly it was Ayer on the right and Julian on the left, and he actually can play it. He is probably more right-footed, but he plays left side as far as I'm concerned. He can do that role.
Okay. Just laying out.
I mean, it's not perfect,
a bit
but
of relief
here.
That's good. That's good. But apart from that, the second goal for Hearts, they got it on the 92nd minute. They were attacking down the left wing, and obviously our stalwart defence, Ralston, at that point, he did try to stop the cross coming in. It deflected off him, and that kind of flat-footed our centre-backs. And at that point, I think it was McAnuff who managed to kind of slot it past Hart. Hart never really had the chance. And the centre-backs, I couldn't blame them. It was just a lucky deflection that came off Ralston. Don't you dare criticise Ralston. And that was it. Wee bit too late for them to actually really seek a third. But I think if it happened a couple of minutes earlier, then it would have been squeaky bum time for Celtic, because Hearts in maybe the final 15, 20 minutes, they kind of had the momentum. They were getting a larger share of possession. And it kind of goes to show, like, I don't want to give Hearts too much credit, but for a newly promoted team, maybe it's just the fact that they've got a high wage bill, that they were able to kind of retain players of a certain calibre that wasn't really a championship level. But Hearts will do well. I don't think they've got anything really to fear. It depends on what their ambitions are, but who cares too much about their targets for this season? All I'm saying is that Hearts are a not bad team, and if we gave them an inch, I'm sure they would have taken it, because they got 2 goals again. So that's that. So yeah, we're through to the next round. The draw was made right after the full-time whistle, and we've got a home tie. We've got Raith Rovers at home. Whenever I hear Raith Rovers, I think about, 1994, the Coca-Cola Cup final, that the first ever heartbreak that I experienced in football as a Celtic fan. Don't ever wish to re-experience that again, but that's what I associate them with. And obviously Gordon Dale for Super Scoreboard, can't stand that guy either. I think he got a goal in that game as well. But anyway, going to move back to the wee trivia. So just to remind you, we're looking for the top 10 German international goal scorers. And out of the 10, you've got number 1 and number 2. So that was Klose and Gerd Muller. You got number 4, Jurgen Klinsmann. And you got number 9, Thomas Muller. Now, I'm going to make it easier for you, because number 7 is a guy who I've never heard of. This guy played in 1958 up until 1970. He got 43 goals. I'd never heard of the guy, so not putting a lot of credit on me, but I think unless you're a German fan, then you will probably never have heard this guy. A guy called Uwe Seeler. He got 43 goals. He's at number 7. I'm just going to take him off the list because I don't want to be too harsh on you guys. So,
can I ask?
mhm.
What's how many goals does number 10 have?
Number 10, he got 37.
37. So we can be as low as 37 goals. Or 38, 39. I've got 2 names in my head. One,
Cool.
I believe, depending on transfer dealings, may have, or at least he did play for the same club as Kyogo back in Japan. Lucas Podolski.
Well done. Well done. Podolski is number 3 at
Number 3? Really?
49 goals. So him
3
and
is
Closer
49. Okay.
Yeah, him and Klose, funnily enough, they're actually Polish born. However, the Poles actually hate Klose, but they love Podolski. Podolski made a promise to his grandmother before she died. He said that I will play for my hometown club in Poland, and it became a running joke in Poland that like when pigs will fly or whenever Podolski will sign for our club, and eventually he's actually signed for the club. I forget the name, but it's his hometown team.
Nice.
And Podolski, he's had a massive career. So Podolski at number 3. Paddy, surely you've got a couple of names. Come on.
I was actually going to say that name that you took away from me, Gerd. I'm gutted.
Were you really?
No, what do you call him? Rudy Voller.
Ooh.
Rudy Voller, well done. Do you remember that game against it was Holland, and who was the Dutch guy who spat in his face? It was the guy who managed Barcelona, Frank Rijkaard. Aye, a big greener in his face, and that beautiful blonde hair that he had as well. Disgusting. So well done. Rudy Voller, number 5 with 47 goals. So we have only got 1, 2, 3 guys remaining. So well done.
This guy must be on the list as well. Beerhoff.
Bierhoff. Right, okay, we're going to stop it there. So congratulations. He
Two
is
more to go.
number 10. Number 10, he got 37 goals. We've only got 2 more, so we'll park it there, and we're going to touch on the Celtic and Jablonec game. So that was on Thursday, the 12th of August, and that was the Europa third round qualifying game. So that was the second leg. We won 3-0 on aggregate. That was 7-2. And I think in the first leg, we all agreed that there was good parts and bad parts. Our defence was a wee bit rocky. We never conceded. Always a positive. Another clean sheet. So that was good for Hearts. For Hearts, sorry. Getting the confidence up there. The goal scorers were Turnbull. So Turnbull got 1 in the first half, and then got another 1 in the second half. And Forrest got the third for Celtic in the second half. And it was pretty much the same lineup as what we'd seen today. The only difference is that Christie was playing instead of Edouard. So Christie was in, and Christie again, I think he's been kind of running his heart out. So another good performance for Celtic. Overall possession, we had about 64% to their 36. Total shots, this will surprise you. We had 13 total shots, and they had 13 total shots.
Wow.
5 on target for us, 4 on target for them. And actually, let's focus on Joe Hart. It was in the second half, and I think it was just one of those stages, one of those periods in the second half where Celtic just kind of took their eye off the ball, and they had a few attacks, and Hart had 2 saves within like a couple of minutes, if that, of each other. In the first one, their attacker was played through. Hart was only about like 5, maybe 10 yards in front of him, and it was a very, very powerful shot, and he had to kind of straight at Hart, but Hart had to hold his hands up. He had to actually stand up strong. A lot of keepers would have went to ground. But the Celtic fans, it had been a long time since they'd seen an impressive save between the sticks, and they were all clapping. So that was actually like a good thing to see. And then like a couple of minutes later, they got another chance, and it was like even much more of a kind of point blank save, much closer between the attacker and Hart. And again, Hart stood up strong. So that was a right confidence booster, as much as it was for Hart as for us. I think we really needed that, and maybe Hart needed that too. So I just want to kind of give props where it's due for Hart, and hopefully that'll continue. He'll get more saves like that, but we don't like to see him under pressure like that. It was a bit of a calamitous, crazy moment for Celtic where we kind of took the eye off the ball. But aye, and Jablonec, they weren't really a very talented team, but we put them away. But kind of moments in the game that kind of stuck out for me, I think it was about 13 minutes. Forrest cut inside from the right wing, and I was talking about like Kyogo with his runs, and sometimes like his football intelligence is a wee bit ahead. But at that point, he was cut off. It was called offside. Kyogo cut in, collected the through ball, and he made an exquisite shot. It went into the inside post, beautiful, and he stood there, hands up, rejoicing. But unfortunately, it was a marginal offside. That was a bit of a gutter. But Kyogo was making brilliant runs throughout the game. It was just one of those kind of professional performances that we had to put in. McGetney, what was your overall impressions of that one?
I think your term there, professional performance, is probably quite apt. You touched on Hart there, and we don't want to see him being put under that kind of pressure, which is definitely 100% true. We don't want to see that, but I think it was quite encouraging that he made those two really quality saves quite early into his Celtic career. It shows that he's still got something in him. He's got reactions in him. He's got a strong hand to him, and he can kind of take control of the situation when it happened like that, when we don't want it to be happening. I think overall, I'm impressed with Hart so far. Again, going back to the goals, because it was 3-0, so there's not much other than the Joe Hart 2 saves really to talk about in a defensive sense. But the 3 goals, I thought, yet again, a lot of them were well worked. You've got Turnbull's long range, which was good, fed into him, I think it was by McGregor. And then you've got the Forrest goal, I think was, again, similar to what we've seen 2 or 3 goals at least so far. The attacking in unison of that front 2, front 3, where the ball crosses over and somebody happens to be there. It's just everything moving in one kind of unit as an attacking formation. It's a joy to watch at times, and it's really good to see that we were able to keep clean sheets against teams that have scored against us before in previous rounds. Even Jablonec themselves scored 2 in the first leg. But as poor as they may seem to be, these are stumbling blocks that we usually get undone by. And it's good to see, as you said, a professional performance, 3-0. The goals are coming, people are coming back onto form, keeping clean sheets. It's just good to build that confidence, especially at this early stage of the season.
Absolutely. And
I would say that the 2 shots that Hart saved weren't any world class saves or anything, but there were 2 saves that I think he personally had to make for himself to build his confidence, as you said, Gav. And he had a few moments. He had a few moments like that today as well. There was one particular, as I say, it's not been any world class saves or anything like that, but he came out and collected a cross with the right hand side to Hearts, and it was just one of those ones. Do you know what I mean? He just came out and plucked it out there, but he ran through about 2 or 3 players, and one of them was his own, and that's exactly what you want to see for one of their Celtic keepers, and that's what we've been missing.
Somebody
Barkas and Bale.
Somebody to take control of the situation.
Just somebody to command his area, and you can see that as well. He's dictating, he's vocalising his defenders.
Aye. I don't think you can underestimate as you said, the kind of the vocal abilities that Hart has got. Our defence needs that. So this season, I hope to see the benefits of that. And a couple of other incidents. I know that we've not been very complimentary of Taylor on this podcast, but again, give credit where credit is due. So for the first goal, we know that Ralston's been we're talking about the inverted fullbacks. We know that Ralston's been getting in there, but on this occasion it was Taylor on the left coming into the centre. The ball broke loose outside of the opponent's box, and Taylor came in, he intercepted it, he skipped by one of their midfielders, and at that point you had Turnbull, who was kind of peeling off his marker to the left hand side. Taylor put in a reverse pass to him, and Turnbull at that moment he just took a touch. The keeper was rushing out, and it was an easy finish. I think it was the outside of his right boot into the corner of the goal. So a really classy finish for him, and good that Taylor is getting that confidence as well to kind of link up from the centre. So we're seeing, I know that we're talking about the ability of our two fullbacks, and can they do that? Can they implement what Ange is preaching? But we are seeing small signs of it. I'm sure more will come, and if Ange makes up his mind that we need upgrades on both of them, then he'll do that in due time. But it's good that they're taking on board his instructions, as we've seen from that goal. But another point, Starfelt again, they had an opportunity. I think this was in the second half. And again, near where he conceded the penalty today, their attacker had the ball within our box on the right-hand side, and he was cutting in towards goal to try and link up with one of his teammates. And Starfelt, he was in front of him. He just had to stand his ground, and block him off. Starfelt went to ground. I think the contact was minimal, but in European football, I would have expected the ref to blow for a penalty. There was no reason for him to go to ground. It was kamikaze defending. I would never see Welsh do that. From what we've seen of Welsh this season, last season, Welsh would not do that. And again, I'm not trying to kind of start an agenda here against Starfelt, but what is he playing at? What is he playing at? But he got away with it again. So thank God for that. It wouldn't have really mattered anyway because we won 7-2 in aggregate. But just for the kind of clean sheet, and for the kind of full attendance back at Parkhead, we don't want to kind of see that. We need to cut those mistakes out. But overall, a positive result. So we can wipe the slate with that. Moving on to the next one. And of course, it's against AZ Alkmaar. So that'll be on Wednesday. And we'll do a preview of that. So we do plan to do another episode, and that'll be out. What's the day today? Sunday. So we'll be releasing another episode, and that'll be late Monday night, if anyone can catch that. Otherwise, you'll be watching it on Tuesday, hopefully. And we'll be going through more of the preview for the AZ Alkmaar game. But overall, the European journey so far, Paddy, how would you sum it up?
Obviously started off pretty bad, getting knocked out the Champions League qualifiers, but I think playing a team like Jablonec this early has been decent for us because we're obviously trying to build some blocks with the Ange ball kind of style of football, and that's translating over into domestic. I think we've not got too much to worry about for midfield to forward, and it's only going to get better because obviously today, making his debut at Celtic Park after about 10 years of waiting, was James McCarthy, who's a player that's going to bring vast experience. As much as Hart's going to bring in the goals, she'll bring that into midfield. You probably could be doing with a player like him advancing on into Europe. And as far as I'm aware, he's took Leo Hieldi's place for Alkmaar. So if we're going to be needing to play a player who can kind of break up play, then he'll be able to slot into that. But again, that's where Ange fancies kind of changing for his style that he's implemented now to try and combat that and maybe play counter attack. I don't know, but no, it's definitely the things starting to click, and the more and more that the players play together, they're going to have a more continuity. They're going to be knowing what each other are doing. We could still be doing with a few more players going on. We're not going to get that for Alkmaar because, as I say, we've just made the last change, which is McCarthy. So I'm looking forward to that in a sense. I'm not looking forward to it in another sense. But listen, we'll it is what it is. We'll see what it is.
And McGinty, same kind of question to you. You seen like kind of a momentum of kind of positivity with Celtic? I know that we're been good and the bad, but overall, are you happy with the direction that we're going in?
Overall, happy with the direction we're going in. Yeah,
on the pitch,
on the pitch, definitely. Overall, happy with the direction. Defensively, the same issues have been there since before last season. We know what the issues are. We're weak in that area, and I think games like today show that the defence, as well as Ralston, Taylor, and all the Welsh and that have been doing, they're still fragile at the back. There's still things to be worked on. But overall, as Paddy says, midfield to front, you can't not be impressed with this. This is unbelievable attacking football that we're seeing, that we're just not used to in the last 20 years or more. at Celtic. It's a joy to watch. I'm really excited to see how we go forward. There's things to change and things to do, but we're positive. We're positive about where we're going. I think just touching on the European games as Paddy did there, it's not ideal, but I think the best thing that we've probably done with these kind of 2 early rounds is almost treat them like extended pre-season. And it's a lot. I think a lot of fans have not given up on European football this year, but have accepted it's not Champions League football. It's not maybe going to happen exactly how we hope. I think maybe in some fashion it's probably been a good thing that these games have happened in the way that they've happened, because we're learning from them. Definitely learning from these games, and it's helping us going into Alkmaar. Lord knows, it's a step up from the last two, but I think we can do something. So here's hoping.
Aye. Well, we've got through, and of course we've got through Europe wise, and we've got through domestic wise to the next round. And another wee bonus which we've not really mentioned. Don't like to give them too much airtime, but Rangers had missed out on that Champions League cash money. So another positive for Celtic in terms of that kind of psychological thing. I know that a lot of Rangers fans would have kind of get carried away with the riches they would have been looking at, but on saying that, they still had another round to play. But to go back to the trivia, so we've only got 2 more. So of course it's the top 10 German international goal scorers. You have got Klose, Muller, Podolski, Klinsmann, Voller. We've got Uwe Seeler, who Paddy of course knew, he was just being shy about it. We've got Thomas Muller, and we've got Oliver Bierhoff. So I'm looking for 2 more. So I've got number 6. He got 45 goals. He was an old timer, but definitely a well-known centre forward. And we had number 8. He got 42 goals. He was more recent. Still retired, both of them. Any guesses?
Both retired. Well,
Going to
recently
take
retired.
a pop and say Rummenigge.
Well done, mate. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. He just retired in the summer from the chief executive post for Bayern Munich. So I think he's earned his retirement.
There's a conversation to be had there about ex-footballers and key positions in boardrooms, but that's for a different conversation for a different day. Trivia.
I'm sure you would say jobs for the boys. You normally scorn upon that.
Yeah, I say we'll talk about that another day.
Aye. Okay, well done with that.
Trivia.
Aye.
So the last one to go is a bit more recent. So we're not going to have some sort of Beckenbauer left field appointment here for top goal scorer. He's more recent, I'm guessing.
No. I would probably say Beckenbauer was. I would say Beckenbauer was the best player out of that entire list, maybe apart from Gerd Muller. But yeah, it's not Beckenbauer. Number 8, 42 goals. And his German tenure was from 2001 to 2009.
What are we looking for centre forwards here, or do we have a wee surprise midfielder?
We're looking for goal scorers.
Goal scorer. Thanks for the help there.
I think I know who this is.
I've got two recent ones, but I don't think one's retired.
What was the year again?
2001 to 2009.
Okay. I'm going to go with my left field one because of who he is. Ballack.
Well done, mate. Well done, Michael Ballack. By the way, again, we're talking about Gerd Muller with sad news. Just want to kind of shout out again for Michael Ballack. His son, an 18-year-old, unfortunately, he died in the last day or 2. It was a motorcycle accident in Portugal. Absolutely tragic. So again, thoughts with him. I didn't mean for you guys to kind of leave it on a bad note. You've left Ballack till last, but yeah, massive condolences to the Ballack family for that. But well done, Ballack. Yeah, what a hell of a player. Played in England under Jose Mourinho, and the unfortunate thing was for him, cracking player, but he missed out in the Champions League final. Mind that Zidane goal for Real Madrid at Hampden. He was playing for Leverkusen that night, and when Brazil won in Japan and South Korea in 2002 World Cup, when it was Ronaldo who got the 2 goals against Germany, it was Ballack playing in that game. He was probably the best German player on the park. But aye, cracking player. He never got those accolades that he probably did deserve. But aye, you actually did really well. So the only one that I gave away was the one who I thought would be impossible, Uwe Seeler. But aye, you did really well. So massive congrats for you guys. It was a bit different. German goal scorers. I thought, oh, they're going to fucking hate me for that one. But well done. Guys, so obviously we've talked about Celtic and Hearts, we've talked about Celtic and Jablonec. So tomorrow night, as I said earlier on, late Monday night, if not Tuesday, we're going to be getting another episode out. We're going to be talking about, and more in depth, the Celtic and AZ Alkmaar games. That'll be 7:45 Wednesday night. Still don't know what TV channel it's going to be on.
Wait,
but
are we playing on Wednesday?
Wednesday night, aye.
Has it been moved from Thursdays to Wednesday? Is that always been a thing?
100%
Oh,
Wednesday.
Jesus Christ.
100%
Reschedule
Wednesday,
my
aye.
calendar.
Aye, so we'll be talking about that. So we'll try and do a bit of homework on that team and let you guys know what we're in for and why apparently they're the favourites. We also want to be talking about the Gordon Strachan fiasco, which is turning into a bit of a fiasco. Without going into too much depth, it's been announced that Celtic have got an agreement with Gordon Strachan. He's going to be coming over to Parkhead, or to Lennoxtown specifically, to do a consultancy review of the Celtic Women's, the Celtic Colts, and the overall youth structure at Lennoxtown. 3-month consultancy period, so something to get our teeth in. I'm sure we'll have a few differing opinions on that one. Apart from that, we can be talking about Celtic transfer rumours. You never know. A week is a long time in football, especially in Glasgow in the Goldfish Bowl. So you never know. We might have a couple of incomings, maybe Edward, maybe Christie. There might be news on them. We do not know, but hopefully it's for the positive anyway. And guys, for the viewers, thank you again for watching us tonight. As you all know, that we're a kind of a fledgling podcast, so we're trying to kind of build our base of subscribers. So please, if you're kind enough, share this with your family and friends and fellow Celtic supporters. Subscribe to it, give us a thumbs up, and if you want, leave a comment for feedback, good or positive. We might, good or negative. We might delete the negative ones. Depends on how.
Wouldn't.
Well, you never know. But I think we've covered everything. Paddy, any final thoughts on tonight?
Aye, again, it's another step in the right direction. The football that was on show, particularly the first half, was mesmerising. I'd actually like to give a shout out to the fans. I thought the fans were tremendous. The GB were the top form again, but again, you can see you can see how much the positive atmosphere with Celtic Park being full again is reflecting on the players, and it's almost as if they're drawing a wee bit that energy and enthusiasm and happiness. Do you know what I mean? It's obviously it was a long time having no fans in, and it's great to see Celtic Park full again. The team performing well on the pitch. So let's hope the positive run continues. More points on the pitch, and good.
Aye, well summed up. I agree with you totally. It's much more positive. I think we're starting to exercise those demons. Totally with you in that one. McGinty, final thoughts on this evening before we wrap things up?
Yeah, again, another positive result, positive steps in the right direction. We've talked about it, we'll talk about it more in the next couple of days about the defensive fatalities. It's all good though. Other than what Paddy says, I'd rather have my points on the league table on the board rather than on the pitch, but it's good going forward.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Paddy.
Well, guys, pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and again for the viewers, thank you for watching. So for us, thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.